Welcome to The Explainer. Look, today we're tackling a topic that is consistently one of OSHA's top cited violations year after year. And honestly, it is quite literally a matter of life and death. We're talking about lockout/tagout, or LOTO training. I really cannot overstate the importance of this one. When you're dealing with massive printing presses, die cutters, and flexography web lines that pack thousands of pounds of force and high-voltage electricity, there is absolutely zero room for error. None. So we're going to break down the uncompromising rules that keep workers safe, examining the training protocols that ensure a machine is completely dead before anyone steps inside it.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We've got 4 critical safety pillars on the agenda today. Section 1 is the threat of hazardous energy. Section 2 covers the core rules of LOTO. Section 3 is navigating shift changes. And Section 4 will be emergency lock removal.
Starting off with Section 1, the threat of hazardous energy, and really understanding the stakes on the production floor.
So, the foundation of all LOTO training starts with accountability, and that's divided into 2 very distinct roles. First up, you have your authorized employee. This is the pressman or maintenance tech who actually applies the physical padlock to isolate the energy and perform the servicing. Then you have the affected employee. That's the operator who just works nearby or normally runs the machine. Now, the strict LOTO rules we're discussing today, they belong entirely in the hands of the authorized employees. They are the ones physically holding the keys to their own survival.
You know, relying on an emergency stop button or an interlock door during maintenance might save you a few seconds, but it is an incredibly unsafe shortcut. We're talking about shortcuts that lead to amputations and fatalities. An e-stop does not kill the main power feed, it just pauses the circuit. A physical padlock secured directly onto the main electrical breaker or pneumatic valve is the only OSHA-compliant method because it absolutely guarantees a zero-energy state. Bypassing interlocks to speed up a run is just a catastrophic mistake.
Moving right along to Section 2, core rules of LOTO. These are the absolute boundaries of worker protection.
When it comes to hardware training, the rules are, well, they're completely rigid. First, you must use standardized company hardware only. You can't just bring a gym padlock from home. Furthermore, combination locks are strictly prohibited. Why? Because anyone can guess or share a combination, right? And that completely defeats the purpose of isolated control. Finally, locks are permanently non-transferable. You cannot give your lock and key to a coworker. Think of these standardized locks and tags as your personal shields. Only you have the key, and only you can remove it.
Which brings us to the golden rule, the absolute mandate of lockout/tagout. One person, one lock. If multiple employees are working on a machine, say a press operator and a maintenance tech are clearing a massive jam, every single individual must place their own personal lock on a group hasp. You can never ever rely on a buddy's locks for your own protection. I mean, think about it. If your buddy finishes early, takes his lock off, and turns the machine on while you're still inside, the consequences are fatal. One person, one lock. It's an absolute rule.
So, how do we actually execute this on the floor? Well, facilities use machine-specific energy control placards. Instead of forcing an operator to flip through some massive, confusing corporate binder in the front office, these single-page visual guides are posted right at the machine. It tells the worker exactly what energy source to isolate, exactly where the valve or breaker is physically located, and, most importantly, the verification step. You lock out the breaker, and then you attempt a normal start to verify it is completely dead. It's immediate visual verification right at your workstation.
Next up is Section 3, navigating shift change continuity, or the handoff.
Proper shift change training dictates a seamless 3-step physical handoff to manage this highly vulnerable moment. Step 1, the leaving shift maintains their lock on the machine. They absolutely do not remove it early. Step 2, the incoming shift arrives, assesses the machine, and prepares their own LOTO hardware. And Step 3, the incoming shift attaches their personal lock to the hasp at the exact same time the leaving shift removes theirs. We ground this abstract rule in a real-world action here. The physical swapping of padlocks ensures there is not a single second of unprotected exposure. The machine remains dead the entire time.
And finally, Section 4, emergency lock removal protocol, the extreme edge case.
So, picture this. What happens if a worker clocks out, goes home for the weekend, and leaves their personal lock still attached to a machine? The machine is completely disabled and production is totally halted. You might be thinking, well, just grab some bolt cutters, right? No, absolutely not. A left-behind padlock is treated with the utmost severity because cutting a lock assumes the worker is no longer inside the machine.
If you're wrong about that, someone dies.
Because the stakes are literally life and death, training dictates an uncompromising two-person emergency lock removal rule. First, management must exhaust all means of contacting the absent employee. Call their cell, call their home. You have to be 100% sure they aren't on the premises. Next, actually cutting the lock requires the physical presence of the plant manager, safety manager, or an authorized corporate designee. And finally, a formal emergency removal report must be executed and filed within 24 hours. Cutting a lock is an absolute last resort.
Let's be crystal clear about the fallout here. Unauthorized lock cutting leads to severe disciplinary action, up to and including termination. You simply do not touch another person's lock. These strict administrative rules might seem incredibly rigid, but they exist to protect the safety culture at all costs. If workers don't believe their personal lock is sacred, the entire safety system collapses.
We're going to end on this final provocative thought. If a shortcut, like relying on an interlock door instead of a padlock, saves 5 minutes but risks a life, is the machine really worth more than the operator? The answer, of course, is no. Lockout/tagout isn't just about regulatory compliance. It's a fundamental promise that every single worker gets to go home to their family at the end of the shift. Prioritize human life over production speed, respect the uncompromising standards, and always secure your energy. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and stay safe out there.